What is going on, guys? In today's video, I'm going to talk about whether Christians can get involved in politics, or should Christians even get involved in politics, right? So, a lot of people, it seems like in today's society, they want to adopt extremist positions, right? So they either are really addicted to the news and to what's happening in the political and the economic realm, or they're just like completely shielding themselves from, current events, saying things like, it's just too negative, I don't want to cause my mind to be depressed and things like that. And actually, there is some truth to that, the more often one consumes the news, the more depressed and anxious they feel. And this has been shown in the social science literature. Um, but does that mean that therefore we have to cut off all the news just in general? No, I wouldn't really recommend that, right? Especially as a Christian, I highly discourage Christians, especially, from completely disengaging from the news and what's happening in current events. The reason why I say that, it's because Jesus' command, the greatest commandment, right? In the Great Commission in Matthew 28:18-20, he calls us to go to all nations and make disciples of them, right? So in other words, we are a proselytizing religion, right? So that means that it is our mission to go to other nations, go to other places, and try to bring as many people to Christ as possible. Now, obviously, we don't do that through threatening them. We do that through preaching the gospel of love and compassion that Jesus has taught, even to the point where you're going to get persecuted for that. And it's guaranteed in the Bible that you will be persecuted as a Christian. So, how does learning about current events help you then in your Christian ministry? Well, here's how it does that, right? When you understand what's going on around you, you start having a picture of how society functions, right? When you understand how society functions, you can kind of make certain generalizations about how individuals in that society function. And once you understand that, you will be more curious to gather more data by going to individuals, talking to them, interacting with them. In other words, when you're aware of what's going on in current events, you will be more likely to be involved with people in your community. You will be more likely to engage with them, to try to institute some sort of positive change, or at least hopefully positive change into the community in which you live, right? Now, if you're not doing that, then start doing that, right? So if you're reading the news in order for you to create enemies, the us versus them mentality that's so classic and that's especially been resurrected in today's world, then yeah, definitely disengage from politics if that's going to be your mentality, right? But if you're reading in order for you to bring people together, to bring unity, regardless of where people lie on the spectrum, whether they're liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, right? You don't see yourself as pitting them against each other, but you see yourself as wanting to bring unity through your life's example and through the transformation of the Holy Spirit in your life to them, then of course I would encourage you to do that, right? But if you were to completely disengage, that's not going to become possible. And it's very difficult to completely disengage from something that's omnipresent. It's like saying, I want to disengage from, I don't know if this is the best example per se, but let me try. It's like saying, I want to disengage from cars, right? Because I believe that cars cause pollution, gas prices are high, and, you know, I don't want to help evil, greedy capitalists, whatever your line of reasoning is. It's not that it's impossible to do, but it's very difficult to do that because you have to find alternatives for that solution, right? Which is, if you're not going to ride cars, you need to find an alternate form of transportation. The same thing goes with, maybe to a slightly lesser degree, right, with politics and current events. You're not actually meant to constantly be consuming that stuff, because eventually it's going to overwhelm you and fill you with negativity, because most of the news is pretty negative and controversial. But if you're smart about your consumption of news content, then it's going to educate you more, and it's going to make you more interesting and more involved in the community. And once you're involved in the community, you are going to be put in a position to be given an opportunity to talk about your faith, to talk about Jesus, and to reach those who are lost, not to your political party or to your political side or ideology, but to bring them to Christ, right? And for them to become believers. So, not your political party, not to your political ideology, not to your posse, not to even your church per se, but to Jesus. So, in that sense, yes, I think Christians should get involved in politics. But if you want to get involved in order to antagonize other people, then of course you should not get involved in politics. Hopefully that video helped you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.